Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of a Star Wars Alliance podcast, your home on the Geek Ultimate Alliance for any and all things Star Wars. I'm one of your hosts, as always, Katie Rinchler, and joining me, co-host, Fanboy Clay. Clay, how are you doing today?
I am doing pretty good. I had a day at work, but it's very rare that I drink coffee in the afternoon. That's kind of how you
I
know
know.
that my you know you would assume, oh, he goes straight for the alcohol. No, I need the heavy caffeine in coffee. So I have my coffee. I know that if Snell was watching right now, he would be so nervous for the fact that it is an open cup, no lid, nothing, right next to my keyboard and all of my computer stuff. Gonna play with fate today, but I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm drinking cranberry juice out of my one and only Fanboy Clay Justice League cup.
Oh man, I will admit my Wonder Woman emblem on mine recently messed up. There's like one little thing that just like dropped, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no. I think I was a little too rough with it, but I am so happy that I still made those. I still see people randomly taking pictures with it, so I'm like, yay!
Yeah, I got asked about it at work today. I was like, this was for a movie premiere, and I bought one.
I technically still have it open at the Etsy shop, I think, but I will be completely honest, my wife has taken over the Etsy shop, so she is going to be putting a lot more stuff on there that is more towards her realm of creativity. So
Gotcha.
uh, who knows what's going to show up on there? But
Yes.
we have a lot of things in store to talk about today. I think we're going to hit the news first, but before we do all that, we are a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, of course, with a slew of shows and a slew of co-hosts. You know the lineup is Slice of Film with Katie, and then World's Finest True Believers and Ranger Alliance on Mondays with me, Joe, Tony, Jake, and of course World's Finest True Believers over there with Chris. Then on Monday nights, it is DC Alliance. This past Monday, me and Hines talked everything DC fandom, our reactions to the Batman trailer, Black Adam, and whether we, really like the direction of DC fandom. Now, there has been a lot of DC related news that happened today that we will be talking about next week. Whew, man, it's rough.
Oh,
It is rough
don't
out
you
there,
wish you were drinking tea right now? Because that's what
hmm
dropped today.
Yes, a lot of tea. But we will be talking about that next Monday. So make sure that you are subscribed to the Geekverse YouTube channel. Hit that bell to make sure you get all the notifications of when we go live, whether that be for DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, Star Wars Alliance, and of course, Geekverse themselves, our sister channel where they talk everything geekdom and pop culture. But of course, superhero discussions with Travis Hines, of course, us, Star Wars Alliance, every month. I almost said every Monday, every Wednesday live, and then of course drops on Thursday, and then on Thursday night is of course Marvel Alliance dropping on Fridays, and then every other Saturday is a walk through the multiverse over there with
Yep.
Joe. So we are also a ad supported network and also listener supported. What that means is that you will be listening to ads in this show. We do not choose the ads, we don't choose the volume of the ads, and we do not choose how many times the ad repeats itself if it does. But if you don't want to listen to those ads, you can always become a patron of ours. The two tiers of that is $1 tier is just to say thank you, just to kind of support us. Very, very low price range there. And then $5 to get exclusive content and, of course, early access to all these shows that we have readily available to you. So, with that, I believe that oh, well, also, because it is fairly new, uh, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars Alliance all have their solo feeds on any and all podcatchers. So if you would like to watch or listen to those shows separately, or if you would still like to just listen to us at the GUA, you can still do that as well. Also, we will ask if you can please rate and review us. It doesn't have to be a great review. It can be a mediocre review. It could be, whatever. We will still love you either way. And we might read it here on the show. But I think that is everything. So,
Yes, and I'm sorry, John. I promise I'm going to buy the book and send it to you. The last week was hectic. I'm doing that tonight. I promise. So, yeah. But let's start off with news.
So I was kind of looking. One that kind of caught my eye. Well, I want to go ahead. It's almost a non-news subject because you were kind of livid when you sent it to our GOA chat. But Lego Star Wars Castaways is a game that has been announced for the iOS Apple Arcade.
Yep.
You came in like a fire. You were like, wait a minute, we get this and not Skywalker? And I mean, the way you said it, I know that you meant like we get this now and not like Luke Skywalker now. That's the way you meant it. But like even Chris over at with Marvel Alliance and of course World's Finest True Believers, he was like, Katie, you could calm down. We're still getting this. This one is just coming now. But I can understand how people that have been waiting for Skywalker would kind of look at this and be like, what the hell is this? I don't need freaking Tom Hanks Lego set like on freaking iOS. I don't need that. Well, now I didn't actually read this article. I didn't know what this means. I am guessing just by the look of it, it is going to be more of your like mainly anything that happens on iOS or any mobile game is almost like a Sims, like you just like build your city or do whatever. This is what that looks like. Now it does have like a multiplayer kind of look to it as well. It looks like you can like hang out with friends and do that. It also looks like there is like some sort of battling that you can do as well, sparring. I'm not entirely sure what this is, but there's ships. Like, don't get me wrong, I have not played with a legitimate Lego set in years, actual years. But the last time that I did was Abby. She is a nanny, of course, and one of the kids she was watching was really huge into Star Wars Legos specifically. And I can't remember which ship it was, but she asked me for help, and I was like, I've always wanted to build one of these. Let's do it. And I think it would be like a genuinely fun game to play, like just to pass the time. I'm not super big into mobile games anymore, but I will say, I think you were commenting when we were listening to DC Fandom and they announced that like mobile game that isn't even ready yet.
Yeah.
If it's something that I genuinely like as far as the subject or the topic or the genre, I'll give it a shot. The only reason why I'm not going to be giving this one a shot, though, is because I think it's specific to the Apple Arcade. So, meaning you have to pay monthly for this.
Yes. So it's available for download on November 19th and is playable on iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple TV for those with an Apple Arcade subscription. Now, I'm still cheap, even though I live out of the house, and my mom pays for the Apple like group membership.
Nice.
So it has like Apple TV, Apple Music, and Apple Arcade. So I may give it a go because that mobile games are typically what I play. But it says if you are looking for a racing battle or riddle solving game, or maybe just another social platform to get together with your friends, perhaps you can give it a try.
Now you can, I guess what you could do for those of you who haven't tried Apple Arcade yet, I believe Apple Arcade comes with like a free trial. So you could do the free
days.
It's only 7 days.
Yeah, a lot of people move into that. It's stupid.
Oof, man, that's rough. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like in only 7 days, I feel like I would forget about it and then like
right?
not play it at all.
Well, and that's where they're trying to get you, is because you do like the 7 days thing and then you forget about it because you get busy and everything, and then you forget to cancel it because so
I will say I am one of those people that will subscribe to something and I will completely forget about it, and then I'm like, hey, what is going
be with
on?
Kindle Plus membership right now.
Mine is, well, I will be honest, like Hulu is something for Abby, really. Abby really uses it more than me.
Yeah.
But then it became a thing of like my stepdad and I were like, oh, well, you have this subscription and I have this subscription, so let's trade, bargaining a little bit. And they became, my mom and stepdad were using my Hulu account more than me, and I'm like, oh, but I kind of want to try Paramount Plus, but I don't want to have to just
Yeah.
get another one, so I'm going to cancel this one. And I'm like, oh crap, they use that one. I can't just cancel it because then they would get mad at me, and I don't want people mad at me. So I am definitely one of those people that forgets about subscription services, and then Abby will be like, "What is this bill?" I don't know.
Yeah, so we have Hulu and Netflix, and the only reason we got Hulu was for football. Because I've been using my mom's ESPN account for so long, and now there's 3 of us in different households, and you can only watch 2 at a time, 2 ESPN games. So Matt and I had to get our own subscription, but there's too much coming out on Netflix to cancel our Netflix subscription.
See, I think
So
Netflix will just be the base. It's like everybody's safe space. It's just like, hey, this is where I'm gonna stay, and everything else is kind of pick and choose. I think that
yeah.
is like the real way to go when it comes to subscription services.
Yeah, and then I have HBO Max for free through AT&T.
Yep, same here.
And then the other one I have, obviously, Disney Plus. Before it came out, they were doing a promotion where if you paid up front for 3 years of service,
That's what
you
I
got
have.
it for $3.99 a month. So
I don't think they will, but I really hope they bring that back for like when it renews. Because if
yeah,
I could just pay the 3 months and not have to think about it ever again, like
right.
that's
I
so
paid like
much.
$130, and I've not had to think
That's
about it. I think
exactly that's better than going to your bill statements every single
yeah,
week or month and seeing, oh, I'm still paying for that. Okay, cool. Other than like out of sight, out of mind. And I know that's horrible to think when it comes to money, but hey, it's really good,
yeah,
But I probably won't be trying this. If anything, I will see how everybody else is liking it. If enough friends of mine really want to play it and they need an extra person, maybe. But that just means that I'm gonna have to cancel something else to jump onto this Apple Arcade thing.
yeah. And so I may try it for a little bit, but I'm probably not going to stick with it. For anyone interested in the summary, it says the heroes of their own Star Wars adventure, gamers will visit a mysterious new planet, meet and team up with friends, other castaways, quote, race microfighters, and experience classic Star Wars moments. They'll also unlock hundreds of collectible pieces to customize their minifigure and solve a mystery to save this community of castaways on the ruins of an ancient civilization. Throughout, players can battle foes, solve puzzles, and hone skills in battle and flight simulations. Those looking to share the fun can hang out with friends in the social hub and communicate through LEGO emotes, as well as challenge parents, siblings, and friends in the Hippodrome, or join forces to complete quests to earn rewards. So,
It sounds fun. I mean, it sounds like your general,
mobile
MMORPG.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it looks very, very fun. I will honestly just stick to the Skywalker Saga whenever that comes out.
Whenever it comes out. Sorry. I'm dramatic. What can I say? So let's do the other form of gaming news we have. Star Wars tabletop gaming. Edge Studios acquires the license. So these are for tabletop role-playing games. I don't know much about these, but it's just kind of like throw it out there.
You know, for anybody who is interested, because I think this is something that not a lot of people know. D&D can be really adapted to anything, and it'd be very simple, you know. But the very particular thing about Star Wars is they legitimately look at everything in the Star Wars realm. So, uh,
Mm,
space battles, like everything, and they take that into the account of making the rules for their tabletop games. So it's
yeah.
not necessarily, hey, I'm going to take the rules of D&D and adapt it to Star Wars. That is why there is such a a larger following for Star Wars tabletop games, or especially the role playing games.
Okay.
This is actually interesting. I'm probably going to look a little bit more into this. Now, I'm not entirely sure about the rest of our network, but I know Joe is a really big tabletop gamer,
Okay.
and a D&D player. So, because I for the longest time wanted to stream a DC tabletop like role playing game over like Twitch or something, and we would all be on camera and playing it. And I thought that would be really, really cool. Star Wars, I've always been interested in, but again, because of the rules changing and everything else, it is a little daunting. But I think for me, if Edge Studios can make this a little bit more affordable compared to D&D, because like the books for D&D cost 50
They're so
plus.
expensive.
Yeah, they're like 50 plus bucks, and then every single edition that is added to it, whether it be another strategy guide, another
Hmm.
rule book, whatever, it is like still 35 plus for these
Yeah.
books. If Star Wars can start being a little bit more affordable, I'd be more willing to jump on this, you know?
Yeah, I think so too because I like my sister's a big D&D player and she's tried to get us to do it a couple times and I'm just like like it seems like a huge commitment like cuz I only go down there like every
It
now and then
it
sometimes. So,
definitely is. I think uh some story that you can be playing in D&D, whether it be a Star Wars related one or not, depending on how often you play, an entire game or story can last more than a year,
yeah,
which is insane.
definitely. So, we'll see what happens. I've never looked at some of the older the Fantasy Flight games I think is who previously held it. Yeah. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, still very, very exciting things. I will, like I said, I will probably look more into this probably like next weekend.
Mhm.
But
Uh
let's jump into, I mentioned this to you because I just thought it was funny, the quote that she had made. Uh Sasha Banks confirms, this is the headline. Sasha Banks
mhm.
confirms she will not return in Mandalorian season 3. And my immediate thought process was, okay, you told this to the entire world after your first appearance on Mandalorian. And then like what, 4 episodes later she appeared? Like
Season finale, yeah.
it I don't know if I can necessarily trust you because you've already done that before, but also I don't think we know much about the story going forward in Mandalorian. Now, again, I do think that the really charming thing about Mandalorian is that we've found a group of individuals that Mando keeps coming into contact with.
Mhm.
And so you get to still bounce off of that charisma with all of those characters. But because of what happened at the end, and of course knowing that oh shoot, um villain in the villain at the end, villain at the end, I lost it at the end of season 2.
um
uh
like
I lost his
the
name.
Giancarlo?
Yes. Yeah, Esposito's character. I lost
Moff
it.
Gideon.
Gideon. Yeah. We know that he was captured,
Mhm.
right? And he's made some comments about him, making his return in season 3. So like we know very, very little. I can assume like we saw people return from season 1 to season 2. So I can only assume that people from season 2 will show up in season 3. Like that's
Well,
what I have to believe.
especially because what's her name? Gina Carano's not returning. You'd think, okay, we need somebody to fill this spot that we don't have. The other thing is, like you said, is in season 2, she said, "Oh yeah, that was the only episode I'm appearing in," and then appears in the
Yeah.
season finale. So for me, and huge grain of salt, like mega grain of salt, like I don't believe her, basically. Um, Star Wars News Net also theorized that maybe she could be appearing in the Book of Boba Fett instead. While I find that interesting, I'm also like, I'd rather. Yes, the Book of Boba Fett is season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. But geez, why are you calling it the Book of Boba Fett if you're just having all these people come in? He's taking over the Tatooine
Well,
ramparts.
so there has been a lot of conversations about the Book of Boba Fett, not only because it is coming out in 2 months, more
Yep.
so because of the news that is surrounding it, with like having to deal with other bounty hunters and crime syndicates and all of this other stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there was uh rumors and speculation that maybe we will see the Red Dawn, or things like that.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn, yeah, not Red Dawn, sorry. Crimson Dawn. So it's like, I don't know, I I think that, just like I said with Mandalorian, and you've already said this is basically Mandalorian 2.5, they're going to take the same formula and say, "Hey, these stories do better when there is a vast cast of characters that the main character bumps into." That's what kind of makes it fun in a sense. Now, I can understand people's hesitation, should I say, when finally getting a Boba Fett centered piece of media. Like, I understand, like, oh, I want it to be about him and only about him. But
Yeah.
we've seen so many different Star Wars projects. That's just not how it goes. We've never really seen a only a Luke Skywalker story. No, it's Luke Skywalker with a vast bunch of characters. We've never seen like an only a Chewbacca story. I would think the same thing with this, in saying, yes, it's going to be about Boba Fett. He's going to be taking over Jabba's palace and his crime syndicate and everything that kind of goes within that realm. But like, I just don't see how we could get a Boba Fett adventure without bumping into some characters that we probably already know.
For me, and it's not to say that I don't believe in, hey, it's a small universe. No, you're on a fucking timeline, and people are going, if there's big events happening, the heroes that you see day to day in these shows are going to connect on some way, shape, or form or level. Like, I completely accept that. For me, I just think with the way Boba left off with Bo-Katan, Casca Reeves, and Axe Wolves, I don't see why they would connect, I guess.
Yeah,
It's always
like,
possible.
so
So
unless just throwing this out there as like a, hey, this could be what's going on. So they were the last ones to be in possession of Moff Gideon, right?
yes.
What if Moff Gideon has a bounty on his head?
So my thought process was they were returning him to the New Republic.
Yeah. which could very much be true. But if there's a bounty on his head, there could be reason for people to go after them. And then like because he helped them before, and that's something also like Boba helped them get to uh the ending. Or what ship were they on? They were on the Moff Gideon's ship at the
Star
very end.
Destroyer. Yeah.
The Star Destroyer. Like Boba helped them get there.
Or was it a cruiser? I think it was a cruiser. It wasn't a Star Destroyer because I remember having this conversation with Nathan because he was like, "Oh, we're gonna get a Star Destroyer." And I
Oh,
was like,
that's right. Yeah, it was just a
so
cruiser.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
cruiser.
So he helped them get to the cruiser. So there's already been a connection there, like an acquaintance at least.
I guess maybe so for Mandalorian season 3, I could see that. But for Book of Boba Fett, I just think you're gonna delve into his history a lot more in this show versus like just jumping into live action. Or the present day. You're still gonna have present day stuff, but you're gonna have to find balance between past and present storytelling. And so for me, I don't see it. So
I mean, true. That is true. I would feel like they would want to focus. I know that they are going to focus heavily on Boba, but I do think that my hope is I shouldn't say my hope is what I should say is that they are streamlining this to be part of course, the Skywalker saga, but more of a storytelling that we all want in the sense of like, hey, this is connecting to something else also. So it
yeah.
can branch out to something else. So
Which
we
is
will
what Star Wars does.
yes, so we
that's
will be
why
getting the Boba Fett stuff, but we will also probably get stuff on the side to join the greater story of the Star Wars saga.
yep. Um and so I think we talked about this last time. Part of like the Book of Boba Fett um premiere is a Boba Fett special
Yes,
releasing on Disney
we
Plus
did
Day.
we did we were saying, oh, are they going to be doing this kind of like what they're doing with the MCU stuff, with the legacy
Mhm.
stuff? The special is going to be called Under the Helmet is the Legacy of Boba Fett, debuting November 12th. So Clay told you so. But I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what they say here. It says here, in addition to the name, we also got a few screenshots from the special, reminiscent of 3 screenshots we had from the Luke Skywalker special episode of Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, as part of a promo in the August content of the platform. Um, it does look like they'll be looking back at stuff like Empire Strikes Back,
Yep.
kind of his first appearances and stuff. So I'm looking forward to this. I know that we will probably get a little bit more information, of course, on that day, November 12th being Disney Plus Day.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm excited because I'm curious to see what they choose to highlight from his past. Whether it's just like on screen stuff, are they going to delve into like War of the Bounty Hunters items,
Him
or
holding
are they
his
even
dad's head, like
you never know.
just anything.
Well, and stuff like that, but also like the legend stuff, which continue to make him a very popular character as Boba Fett. So
Ooh, that would be interesting. But see, then that would mean Disney is confronting legends, and they never want to confront legends.
it, but you're never going to be able to avoid it because the screenwriter or some of the screenwriters like Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, they all acknowledge Legend's presence. So fucking stop with the bullshit about like just taking bits and pieces from it and acknowledge what the history gives. Star Wars would not be where it is today without Star Wars Legends.
Oh no, I don't.
It is
Think it would be.
alive because of Star Wars Legends.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see it acknowledged. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but so yeah.
Well, I think that is majority of the news that we were going to be talking about. There
Yes,
is
that
a
is all the
topic.
news.
There is a topic that Katie you want to get to before we actually get to the review of the Terrifying Tales, the Lego story. But
Yes.
before we do that, let's go ahead and jump into our very first ad break. But this is a little different, guys, because support for Star Wars Alliance and the GUA Podcast Network is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their fourth generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer for you 20% off worldwide shipping with the code GUAPOD at manscaped.com. Now, guys, I had the awesome opportunity to get some of their products. And I'm just going to say, their boxer briefs, probably the best pair of underwear I've ever worn, ever. And I am sorry if I'm starting to get a little too personal with you guys, but it's the truth. Their shirt, they have now I'm looking at their website right now. Go to their products. They have boxers, t-shirts, the shed, which is basically your handbag for all of your grooming needs, and they also have a shaving mat that you can stand on. Now, sit on whatever. You do you, not going to judge. So, I'm just gonna say this: T-shirt feels great. Now, I will say it was a little tight, but I look a little nice in it. I was like, "Holy crap! What is this? Oh my gosh!" It was really really nice. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little story and how I am probably never gonna use another piece of shaving equipment ever again. Okay, so picture what is this? This 15-year-old Clay, very small, very awkward. You know, I was joining the athletics team for high school. I think I was trying out for baseball. That was my sport back in the high school days. Now, in the locker room, everybody talks about this locker room talk. It's very awkward. But in the locker room, everybody started talking about manscaping. I was like, what the hell is that? And they started telling me, and I was like, whoa, that is not what I thought was going to be talked about here in baseball. What is this? Had to go freaking. Now, this was before incognito mode, by the way, guys. So, you know, I had to be very iffy on how I was searching my history. Okay. So I'm telling this story to tell you this. I had a very bad incident when I was 15, and I swore off of it until today. Well, not until today, until probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Manscaped is a lifesaver. Their guards are great. Two of them come into the 4.0 package that they were so graciously able to send us. Works wonders. I was like, my heart was beating. I was like, oh, but everything works great and it is good. So, GUA Pod gets you 20% off and free shipping. Remember, GUA Pod at manscaped.com. Now, to your discussion, Katie.
I'm sorry, y'all. I so I sent Clay this while he was reading the ad, but I did not realize that it was specifically below the waist grooming. This is my naivety and my homeschooling
Oh
coming
no,
to.
it is totally fine because the great thing about and let's talk a little bit more about this. Manscaping is a very very hygienic need for everybody, not just men, but women as well. But of course, I mean, I'm not going to judge for Manscaping's choice of company names, but they the one guard I used actually on my face this past weekend before I went to go see a play.
Okay.
And my wife, Abby, she was like, "Holy crap, you look like 10 years younger." Because one thing that I hate, the razor that I use doesn't have a guard as far as like sharing like exactly like the lengths that I want to cut. I do not have a steady hand. So if I shave one thing wrong, I have to shave the entire thing off. And you've seen
Yeah.
me with a baby face, it doesn't look great. So having a guard from Manscaped helps so much. So that way I never have to have like baby clay come up on camera ever again. I can just like very, very easily shave to the length that I desire and everything is good, you know? So I just want to thank Manscaped for letting us use these products. Again, I swear by the guard, the nose hair trimmers. Oh, my wife loves that I use that, because man, it was like a freaking jungle up there. But the shirt and the underwear, guys, you need to check it out. Very, very awesome. So,
It sounds like I need to get this kit for Matt. I told him, well, I haven't told him this yet, but I'll tell y'all. He's been complaining that I always make him shave. So I was like, okay, you know what? No shave November is coming up. He can try to grow a beard in that time frame. So
well, see, and the thing is, for me, I can never do the whole like full beard. I've never been
totally.
able to do the full beard. And people have said, "Oh, you need to do like your oils and everything else." Well, guys, Manscaped has tools. They have formulations. In that package, they give you a ball deodorant, which is basically a lotion, and as well as a toner. There's crop gel. There's the foot duster, cologne, like all sorts of different things. There's wipes as well. Great products here at Manscaped. So the Skywalker name. You
Yes.
made this very interesting statement in our GUA chat, that I said that I was very interested in listening to. Now, tell everybody what your proposition is, and then go into your theory after that.
So, Matt and I have been rewatching Star Wars Rebels, and this kind of came up. I think Nathan and I really discussed it a couple times with like Rey Skywalker and like Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker, and he's very adamant Anakin Skywalker is the chosen one. And for me, with it being the Skywalker saga, and Rey actually brings balance to the Force at the end of episode 9, for me, I was always like, okay, the Skywalker name is the chosen one. Not necessarily an individual Skywalker, but a a reborn person each time. And that's what makes episode 9 to me so powerful, is because Rey chooses to adopt that name and chooses her own family there. So for me, I when Nathan and I kind of argued about this, and I kind of was like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. Like, fine, Anakin Skywalker. And what changed this for me is Matt and I watched the 3rd season of Rebels, episode Twin Sons. And this is the episode where, spoiler alert, Maul finally dies. He is killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi because he threatens Luke and is like, oh, you're here protecting someone. Ooh, maybe I should go find them. Sam Witwer, by the way, beautiful performance in that episode. Like, oh my gosh, Sam Witwer's an artist.
That's the famous Kenobi. Yeah.
Yes. And so when Obi-Wan Kenobi does the little swipe, cuts his lightsaber in half, and Maul dies, Obi-Wan catches him, and Maul says, I was trying to see if I could find the exact quote on here. No, I can't. But he says something along the lines of, tell me, is he basically insinuating, is he the chosen one? because he was so engrossed in, like, we go back to season 7 of the Clone Wars, and he's so engrossed in taking Anakin Skywalker out because he knows that it's the deep plan of Palpatine to take him and manipulate him to be the Padawan or the apprentice for the dark side. So, bringing him in. And here's the summary on Wikipedia. Maul, in his last moments, Maul asks if Kenobi is hiding the Chosen One. Kenobi confirms that this is true, which implies that Kenobi thinks Luke Skywalker, not his father Anakin Skywalker, is the Chosen One. Maul then says that he, the Chosen One, will avenge them before passing away. Why would that be put in such a powerful episode of Star Wars Rebels if it wasn't the case? Because Luke Skywalker takes out Palpatine, but in the overall story, Palpatine is actually taken out by Rey Skywalker.
Yeah.
It was a process, not a specific someone, that was the Chosen One, because they were all very powerful Jedi.
Now, I will say this, which I don't mean for this to be controversial. If it, this is just putting out a point. This is just me, and this is not me saying like you're wrong, Katie. But I'm putting the question out there because it's very iffy on like if people actually knew the direction they were going as far as the sequel trilogy. You know, there has been, I can't remember who the exact quote was from, but they were like, oh, I wish there was a little bit more connectivity or more planning of it all out. I think that was a J.J. Abrams quote that was taken out of context, I think, was what I'm trying to get at. But if it's true that they weren't exactly as connected as it seems, or the lack thereof, you can't really say, I don't think, because Rebels season 4 was coming out at what time? Do you remember the year?
So this is season 3, and this came out. This released, I just looked at this, March 18th, 2017, which was after The Force Awakens.
It was after The Force Awakens, but not after The Last Jedi, which is where, like, of course, all the controversy and blah, 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 and then, like, the redirect with The Rise of Skywalker. You know, allegedly the redirect. You know, I'm saying all this to be a little bit of a devil's advocate. I agree with you that makes sense, because even if Anakin wasn't, or Anakin was supposedly the chosen one, he of course went to the dark side, and you can say technically, quote unquote, before the sequel trilogy, he was the one that picked up Palpatine off of his small little legs and threw him down the shaft, and like he blew up the Death Star like that. Like, that is technically what happened in Return of the Jedi. So people have always said, oh, he's technically the one who killed Palpatine. He's the one that took the final blow or whatever. But if you really look down to it, that is correct in the sense of, at that point, Rey fighting Palpatine, I think she, although it's not said until the very end of the movie, at that point, that is what she believes to be. Is she believes to be a Skywalker. Like, in that aspect. So I do agree with you, but there is some question behind it, which I think is pretty cool. You know, what's a conversation without a little bit of a debate? You know.
Yeah, for me, I think I haven't read Colin Trevorrow's script of the Duel of the Fates, which would have been episode 9 if he would have kept with it. Yeah. However, I would say, like, you could always think, okay, based on everything else that happens, is it possible that Disney would have said when they got the script, hey, we want you to make this change? And that's the creative difference that Trevorrow left over, is that they really wanted a Skywalker to come out of this alive and go, hey, I want you to make this change. And Trevor goes, no. Maybe that was the creative difference that happened. I don't know. So I think maybe Disney's been planning this all along because The Force Awakens came out in 2015, which is more than enough time to write the script for Rebels and animate it. So,
And also, like, although they aren't heavily connected in the sense of, like, other than the overall, like, hey, Star Wars 9, 10, 11,
and the
or
ghost is in episode 9.
and, exactly. But, like, you can probably make the assumption that while filming The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, they were each given notes saying, hey, this needs to happen by the end of this movie. Hey, this needs to happen by the end of this movie. And hey, this needs to happen by the end of this movie. Meaning that, hey, we planted the seed in Rebels because we knew that we were going to introduce this character in Force Awakens. Stories, however the productions were going, we knew that Rey Skywalker in the future was going to be a part of this Star Wars story. So
Yeah.
going that route, I can definitely see them, hey, we're planting this seed so that way a Skywalker could still be the chosen one and defeat Palpatine.
And Claudia Gray has stated that Rian Johnson had several notes for her to include in Bloodline, which is a Journey to Force Awakens novel.
Mhm.
So to say that the movies don't want to have direct connection to the books necessarily is not correct in most terms for Star Wars. So, E.K. Johnson has said that Dave Filoni had several notes on what she could include in the Ahsoka book that she wrote for the young adult branch of Star Wars. So, for me, I think it's fully possible considering the hierarchy is movies, shows, books, video games, or comics in there somewhere. But I mean, you know what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
that's my opinion. I'd be curious to see if any listeners have thoughts. So, like, join the conversation at Star Wars Alliance about the A in the Wars. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
I know
moving
Nathan's
on.
gonna have comments.
Now, moving on to well, let's go ahead. Well, do you think we could do this? I feel like, let me just say this before we decide to go on any ad breaks or anything. I think we can actually talk about it before we have to take any. The Terrifying Tales.
Yes.
It was shorter than I thought it was going to be. I think this drops at, I think
It's about 45 minutes.
yeah, around that time. What were your overall thoughts about it?
I thought it was fun. Like, it was really fun. Lego Star Wars stuff is always really fun to me. I thought the holiday special we got last year for Christmas was really cool.
Which I
So,
still haven't seen. I need to go watch it. I need to go watch it.
yes, we
I
can
feel
talk about
like
it at Christmas.
I actually heard somebody talking about this movie, The Terrifying Tales, and compared it to, like, kids, like, back when we were kids, whenever it came to holiday specials, we had things like uh the Peanuts. So, like, Snoopy and Charlie Brown
Yeah.
and we had those with the what was it? The Great Pumpkin and things like that. I heard people comparing these to those because, unfortunately, kids probably watch Peanuts videos and, like, they're probably bored to death. They're like, this is, like, what is this? Like,
I love the Peanuts movies. Don't hate on the Peanuts movies.
no, like, I love them. It has a very, like, big piece of nostalgia for me for sure. But, like, I feel like kids today, because they weren't, like, probably weren't raised around that, they're just like, whatever. Legos, on the other hand, everybody can get behind Legos.
Yeah.
So having these holiday specials for Lego Star Wars in particular, I think is a really fun aspect to kind of have a family gathering around it, because that's what holiday specials are usually for. um I thought this was a very cute movie. It is very, like, of course you can't sit here and be like, this is canon, like, absolutely
No,
canon.
it's not.
But, like, you like think about it and you're like, okay, in the sense of how Lego Star Wars can be, though, like, it wouldn't be out of the realm of weird for Poe to like run into a force sensitive individual, and I think that's kind of cool. Um, what is his name? Like Dave
Dean.
or Dean? Okay, yeah, I knew it was a D name. Um, he's here and he is wanting to be a pilot. It is it a trope in Star Wars? Yes, it's a very huge trope for pilots to,
Very much
you
so.
know, be force sensitive. But it sticks and it works.
Yes.
I love the cousin of the Huts
Jabba
that
the
that
Hutt.
is building this hotel
Mhm.
for uh, out of Darth Vader's castle, which I think is hilarious. But the overall story of how you get into these tales uh, is really, really fun. For instance, the very first tale that is told is about Kylo Ren, and it is a play off of The Lost Boys. No child would understand that reference. So, having this be a family kind of thing to watch, I could see adults really enjoying that to be like, uh huh, I get that reference. This is really, really funny.
Fun fact,
Um,
I didn't get that reference because I've never seen The Lost Boys.
Write it
So,
down for me right now. Like right now.
okay.
That holy cow. How have you not? Okay, wait, hold on. Hold the phone. Stop, pause, hold on. Have you seen the Goonies?
No.
You're not that much younger than me.
Again,
How?
I'd like to highlight that I saw movies my parents picked that they thought were semi-appropriate with like hands over my eyes at some points,
Okay, I
and
can
then
understand the
Kim
Lost Boys.
Possible Veggie Tales.
I can understand the Lost Boys then. Um Lost Boys, I will go ahead and tell you, is a vampire story. So,
It's what I see in this Easter egg article.
yes. So it's a vampire story. Goonies is just like Goonies is something that everybody should watch. Like, I'm sorry, like it just is. I'm not gonna judge, but your parents were bad. No, sorry, that was
Is it
uncalled
like a
for.
horror movie? Because my
No,
mom was not a horror
Goonies
movie person.
Goonies is not a horror. It's like an action adventure. Well, I wouldn't even call it action. It was just an adventure story with kids involved. Like,
Okay.
I just think that every kid should watch the Goonies. Um, but the first one with like, is it a little silly that like they gave like the name Kylo like almost like a bullying term? Like, I can't remember exactly what they were calling. Like, they
Yeah, it was
said
like a chicken type
like
name
a
or
Kylo,
something.
like exactly. It was like calling somebody chicken, but they were like, "Oh, he's a Kylo. He's a Kylo," and like, and at one point he's just like, "Stop calling me Kylo," and he completely goes berserk or whatever. Like, he saves Luke Skywalker's academy, his temple, but then like because of all the rage that has consumed him, he's like, "No, don't call me Ben. Call me Kylo Ren." And it's just like, that makes no sense whatsoever, but I'll take it. And I think it's actually hilarious. Um, there are some other references. I don't think I caught every Easter egg, to be completely honest. Um, at one point, they actually had BB-8 like painted like a pumpkin, like randomly.
That was really cute.
Which I if you don't sell that toy or decoration, you've lost all hope.
Right?
Like, I think you should have a BB-8 pumpkin somewhere in in ornaments or decorations or something. So there's that. But the overall story of this, the person telling these stories, is is he Darth then, or what is his name? It's not, he doesn't have a title, I don't think. He is this random dude that is said to be like the basically fourth in command of like Palpatine, Darth Vader, whoever was below Darth Vader, and then this dude. He is watching over uh Darth Vader's castle, and he's kind of just been in the background while everybody does construction on Darth Vader's castle. And even one of the hut is just like, oh, he's just like a
Vani's.
huh?
I don't think he's got like a specific like title. He's just Vonnie.
Vonnie. Okay, yeah. He was just like, oh well, this dude, he's just kind of creepy. He walks around the temple. We just kind of leave him alone, whatever. And he's telling everybody these tales, and it's more so that like the reason why he confronts them in the first place is telling Poe Dameron like, oh, you must be one of the chosen ones to open this secret door or whatever.
Which I was like, when they go to open it, I was like, oh, they didn't put any effort into that at all. There was nothing
No,
special there.
like for me, I was like, oh, he needs like a force sensitive person because that's usually how those
Yeah, the
doors
lock.
opened. Like we've seen this in Clone Wars, we've seen this in Rebels, like we've seen that multiple times. And what did they do? They just like they get Poe Dameron and
Woo.
Dean, and they just like push it together, and then it opens. I'm like, what the heck? Hut's whole thing is he wants to follow them because he sees it as like prime real estate. He's like, oh, even
Yeah.
more room where we can put like a day spa or
At a business center.
exactly. So it is really cute. It is really funny. But overall, we see that Dean is in fact force sensitive. One of the stories he is actually one of the stories that they tell is about an ancient lightsaber, which is actually the artifact that they were needing to find. Um, and it's really weird because like that story involved Grievous and Darth Maul, which was hilarious because of how many puns and the fact that like they're Legos. So like the big joke was they were cutting off each other's limbs, but they're Legos, so it's not like a huge deal, but it is at the same time. Absolutely hilarious. Which I actually think because it sounded very similar. Did Sam reprise his role for Darth Vader in this? He did.
I don't know. Let me look real fast.
I feel like he did because it sounded very similar. Because if he did, that's just hilarious that he was just like, yeah, it's Legos. I'll do it too, you know? I am looking at the credits right now. Oh, don't put it in the small square. I hate it when Disney Plus does that.
Yeah.
It doesn't say.
Oh, they don't. They don't have it listed on the dork side of the Force. Hang on. IMDb. Come on. See, this is why I hate IMDb. Top cast.
So I'm looking. Let's see here. Oh,
Sam
again.
Witwer.
Yes,
Darth
he did.
Maul.
Okay. I was gonna say it sounds very, very similar. But still, even that one was really funny. Because nobody got the lightsaber at that point. Palpatine still won over all that.
And James Arnold Taylor came back for Obi-Wan Kenobi too.
Yes, I did recognize that one as well. So the kid, this Dean character, is like his whole thing is that he's not only an aspiring pilot, but he can fix almost anything. And so he fixes the lightsaber. This specific lightsaber actually like gives you immense hunger for power and everything else. And your like eyes glow red, whatever. So there's that. They get deeper into this whole thing. We then see a Sith holocron. Like it touches a lot on Sith lore, which I really did enjoy. Like they did some deep cuts in like not again, this is Lego, so you assume for kids, but everybody who is a Star Wars fan can really, really enjoy this. It was actually a really fun story. But Vane or Vanon or whatever his name is, he is telling these stories, and it's all just a dupe because then he like is the one that takes the lightsaber. He freaking gets in his own little Hulk Buster basically, and like has like this giant suit of armor, and then he turns all of the droids into zombies. It's silly. It's a little weird. But it worked out, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. It was a blast, and we watched this, and then I had to watch Poison for the Fairies for Full Circle Cinema's Screen Screams, and I did not like that one, but it was good to have this one first. So, some of the Easter eggs that are included that relate to different older films. So you've got the Lost Boys reference. The first tale that is told stems also from Marvel's Star Wars: The Rise of Kylo Ren tale. So there is some truth to it, but there's not a lot of truth. Um, and then we have A Nightmare on Star Wars Street, aka A Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, we get Ring Around the Rosie in Huttese.
Oh yeah. Well, I completely forgot one of the other tales that they do tell is the one if like what if Luke Skywalker
Mhm.
was
With the lucky
with the lucky Wookiee's paw.
yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that story.
That was so fun, and he just kept asking for more, and I was like, "Dude, when is this gonna break?"
Well, no, like I think it was Snell who keeps asking for it. He's just like, I want a what if Star Wars. I want a what if Star Wars. I'm like, there's a little bit right there. Go watch Terrifying Tales, Snell. It's actually really, really fun. But this whole story of the Wookiee's paw, uh, it doesn't even like you. I don't think that Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader even confront with the fact that they are related. They just like go along with everything. And like
Mhm.
Luke Skywalker's like, oh, I want to get off this rock. Hey, it looks like you want to get off this rock. Become a pilot. And like he joins the dark side as a pilot. And then or well, no, he doesn't become a pilot, he becomes a stormtrooper. And then he's like, man, I wish I was a pilot. And like randomly, this guy's like, oh, I have this extra pilot suit. What do I do with it? Oh, give it to that random guy over there. He becomes a
And
pilot.
that
Like
just suddenly makes him a pilot.
it's just like really ridiculous kind of things. But it overall was cute and funny. What was some other Easter eggs that were in here?
So you've got a couple references to Vader's Immortal, which is the VR game. Y'all, I will never play VR games. I'm sorry. Um, we had the Night Sisters getting the Lego treatment first time.
Oh yeah.
So we have a Frankenstein reference with Grievous being brought to life as a half mostly droid person.
Hmm.
Um so Darth Maul versus Grievous round 2 is actually they dueled in Dark Horse's Star Wars Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, which was based on unproduced episodes of the Clone Wars.
Oh well, that is the Clone Wars, as in like the very first Cartoon Network Clone Wars, right?
No. So this was actually so the Lost Missions, aka season 6 of the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
was actually supposed to be another like 26 episode season, and it happened when Disney bought Star Wars. Cartoon Network canceled the show right before they were supposed to, like, they were in the middle of doing season 6, like animation and everything. And
Oh, okay. So
so
well, because I know that there was technically two Clone Wars cartoons. There was the 2D
yes.
animation and then the 3D animation.
Yes.
Okay, so
So the
this
2D animation, I don't think features Maul. It does feature Grievous and
oh, that's
Asajj
right. No, it
Ventress.
doesn't. It doesn't feature Maul at all. So that
Yeah.
would make sense that it's more so towards the newer Clone Wars.
Hmm.
Okay, that's cool.
And I think that comic is technically a Legends comic. So I'm not entirely certain. I know Nathan's read it, and it was on my list to read for a little bit, and I didn't do it.
All right, Son of Dathomir. I think let's. I'm going to do a quick search while you keep talking, and I
Okay.
want to see if this has actually been converted into a Marvel series that might be on the Unlimited app.
Ooh. So, the Wookiee's Paw has a line from the Twilight Zone submitted for your approval. But it's also based on the well-known short story The Monkey's Paw. Um, And then I loved Darth Vader kissing Luke as they go to like jump over the like between rooms with no bridge, and Vader kisses him. Is like for luck,
For luck.
and it's like, oh, so he's Leia now.
So I will say, Star Wars Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, is in fact a part of the Marvel Unlimited app. So if you are a subscriber of that, it is 4 issues long. It was back in 2014, and you can read that for free on that app. So
There you go.
very, very cool. I might have to do that later. But yeah, there was something else that happened right before that.
So 2 for the price of 1. Um, a direct tribute to The Shining. Um,
Yes, that's what it
and it's
was.
B1138, which is also George Lucas created. It was THX 1138, which was his first film. So that's a reference there. But I was like, oh, and the droid sticks his head through, and before he even like said anything, I was like, here's Johnny.
Yes, that was another one that happened. Really love that as well.
Got Scooby-Doo. Can't forget Scooby-Doo.
Yes, the going in the corridors and like running across the screen and everything. I had a lot of fun with that also. A lot of callbacks. Yeah, I think the really fun thing about the Lego franchise, because it's not just Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
happens in Marvel Lego and Batman Lego. The writers, they are geniuses because
Yes.
I think they know, like, hey, usually with these kinds of movies, it is going to be for kids, but everybody knows if there's kids watching this, there's got to be a adult presence somewhere, and they do write for those adults sometimes, and I think that it is very, very clever. It's very, very fun. There was a I don't know if this, like, because I know some people can kind of be kind of crazy when it comes to like collecting Legos. Um, I don't know if this is genuine or not, but I think what the hut says at the very beginning, like, oh, and a never before seen skeleton trooper.
Yep.
If that is in fact true, and like then we find out, hey, exclusive to Lego, coming out with a stormtrooper like skeleton trooper, I think that would be kind of cool as like a collector's item or whatever,
Yeah. So the Skeleton Trooper gear is actually from a seasonal clone trooper skin in Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures MMO.
Ah, there you go. Very, very cool.
But it is there. The other thing that I just wanted to call out was Ben Solo's question about Uncle Luke's Jedi training. How long did he train on Dathomir? Like 20 minutes? And that's like a call out to all of the fans who were like, wow, he could do all this and he only had 20 minutes worth of training on Dathomir.
Yeah, it's the same thing for all those people that want to, cry about Rey being like this big powerful Jedi. Well, it's gonna happen. She's the protagonist, regardless of if she's trained for 20 minutes or a whole movie. So
Yep.
really, really fun.
Yes. Yes, it is.
But I think that's it for the movie. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it.
It's definitely a cute watch. I highly recommend it, especially if you've got kids.
I could see me watching this like just for fun for like next Halloween. Like just being like, I have nothing else Halloween related. Because I will admit, I'm pretty sure, Katie, you're the exact same way. I don't do the spooky stuff. No, it's not for me. So watching this would be right up my alley. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, Clay. Anything else? Or are we calling it?
Not that I can think of. I will say this: next week is going to be very, very interesting because we are, in fact, reviewing Star Wars Ronin.
Yes.
I went ahead, I messaged you, and I said I think I'm going to have to go back and reread this. I thought I was going to reread it after I read it the first time. I haven't even finished it, and I went ahead and went back because I was just like, wait a minute,
It's a lot.
it's a little heavy. I know that Lisa from I Love That Movie podcast tweeted at me asking what how I felt about it. I did say that it's very reminiscent of something like a more traditional anime, like excuse me, Rurouni Kenshin or Samurai 7, things like that, with the idea of Star Wars put into it. But it is kind of heavy in the sense of like how much background they are writing
Yeah.
in it. Like they legitimately thought this whole story out with an entire history of these characters. And I wasn't
Yeah.
really expecting that. So, like, I know we're kind of getting a little tease to what we're going to be talking about next week, but that is really why I've decided to go back, and I am actually sitting here at this computer taking notes after every single chapter. And they're more so like bullet points because there's some stuff that I have some questions on for the first like 15 chapters.
Yeah. So yeah, they're having to build basically a whole universe out of this because this isn't based in the Star Wars universe. Um, I just finished chapter 2 of my reread because I got through the whole audiobook and I got into doing work stuff and completely missed like 45-minute sections here and there, and I'm listening to it at 1.5 speed. So I definitely missed like 4 or 5 hours of it. Um so I'm rereading it. I will probably get through most of it this weekend, and then it'll bleed into next. Um,
Yeah, I've
but
planned
I'm
it out. I'm
excited.
like, okay, I'm gonna read 7 chapter, or I'm gonna listen to 7 chapters every single night and get it done by like 3 days from now, and then I can start my reread in order to finish immediately the day of us
Hmm.
talking about it. So I will
Yeah,
be able to read it twice in its entirety before we actually sit down and talk about it, which I'm very, very excited for.
yeah. I'm excited to do it because after next week when we finish the Ronin, I will jump pretty much right into my reread for Thrawn Ascendancy and get books 1 and 2 read before the third book comes out in 3 weeks. So
Oh my gosh. See, I'm gonna need we talked about this. I'm probably gonna be doing the exact same thing. Next paycheck is in like a week. So I'm definitely gonna be doing the same thing. Um, but I also need to look for the physical books because you know me, if I buy it audibly, I
Mhm.
need to have it physically. So I'm gonna be doing that as well, and I need to set up my pre-order for the third book.
Yes. So I believe the paperback is out for the first one. If you're interested in doing that, they are doing new paperback formats for Throne Ascendancy going forward. They're doing the traditional paperback book. So I'm done buying canon paperback books, really, because I can't stand it. My shelf needs to look the same.
I
So
I am more inclined for the hardcover, so I'm really glad that Ronin came in a hardcover. So,
yeah,
uh,
this shelf is all hardcoverish right here.
I'm
So
probably gonna be looking for the hardcover on those Thrawn books.
I think they're still available. Most times the Del Rey books they stay available in hardcover format. So
Yes.
it's the Disney books. So if you get the young adult Disney books, you need to buy those immediately in order to get them in hardcover because as soon as the paperback comes out, the hardcover's gone. So
Gosh, Disney always have to be so difficult.
I know. I y'all are gonna laugh at me, but I paid like 10 extra bucks to get the hardcover of Queen's Shadow versus having the paperback because the paperback for Queen's Peril was not gonna come out for another year. So,
Nice. Very, very
but
nice.
Clay, tell us where they can find you.
Of course, you can always find me on Twitter at fanboyclay. The link tree is usually in the description, but of course, you can always just go to Twitter at fanboyclay. The link tree is there in my bio, where you can find the links to all of my shows, that including Batman News Weekly, Comic Book Legion podcast, DC Alliance, Weird Science, DC Manga and Marvel, as well as Ranger Alliance, and of course, this show, Star Wars Alliance.
Yes, and you can find me on Twitter. It's at Slice of Katie. My other podcast is Slice of Film. It's Slice of Film 1 on Twitter. Next week for that show, we're going to be covering Dune. So very excited for that. If you want to come talk about it with me, please let me know because I need some people to come talk about it with me. It's on HBO Max. So, and then this podcast, it's on Twitter as well. It's at Star Wars Alliance without the A in the Wars. Very important. Don't forget it. Next week, obviously, like we just talked about, we're talking about Ronin and any news that comes up. So, y'all, that concludes us for today. Nice, short, sweet episode. So, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you're listening or watching. And we'll see y'all next time. May the force be with you.
See ya.